lately I was struggling with something that maybe a lot of us be dealing with. This the fear, and the dangerous thing is that this fear can cripple us. Maybe you've heard it before, and now I've lived out, and this fear of not just for your own self, not like fear of success or anything, but fear of being misunderstood. It wasn't about people will say something to me, but it was about what people might think about me. The fear stopped me from obeying what God was leading me to, and you know, I started to hesitate, to post or you create because I didn't want to seem too intense. I don't want to seem too holy or maybe too deep or like anything. I don't want people to think that I think I am better than them. I didn't say out loud. I didn't say out loud my words, or I didn't think of it. Yeah, I thought of it, but my actions showed. Actions showed that I was seeking. This fear led me to seek people's approval instead of God's will, and I realized this. Last week, that what I was getting into. So I was afraid, of what people might think and what I'm starting to do. Like you change too fast, or you don't stay in the one place and you quit easily. And these are all things that people think about, and they may not say, oh, but this thing made me to crippled me. This fear crippled me that I didn't want to post. And even when I would create something, I would do it and compromise it. Try to not put some of the main things that I'm being led to share. And I wasn't just afraid, and this wasn't just fear alone, but it was this quiet rebellion against God. This I was disobeying God, and God was giving me something to share. Through this time I wasn't posting, but I chose silence out of fear of man's opinion about me. And I remember what Paul said in Galatians 1:10. Am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. This teaches us, in order to be a servant of Christ, we cannot seek God. We cannot seek the approval of man. And we cannot seek the approval of man and of God too. We cannot please people. We are not people pleasers. People's opinions change. And when in Proverbs, he talks about how the fear of man is like a trap. But because it's when you fear man, you will die with their rejection. And I had to, in order for me to be Christ-like, to be a servant of Christ, I need to stop pleasing people. I need to stop seeking approval of others, friends, not like just in general, everyone. And because I cannot serve two masters. If I cannot serve both man's approval and God's will, a servant isn't greater than his master. If Jesus was despised and rejected and misunderstood and thought he was blaspheming and so on, then why do I expect people to understand me and accept me or anything else? A servant isn't greater than his master. Even feels worse. But now the thing will shift to I need to seek God's approval now, and worry about his criticism for me and his judgment for me and so on. But the beautiful thing is that when you read scripture, when you understand the gospel and what it teaches, God isn't waiting for you to criticize you, but He has already approved of you. His obedience doesn't change. He doesn't wake up and with a grumpy face, mad or angry, and another day He's loving and caring. He's the same, and He doesn't change. So I had to realize that I cannot let the fear of this being misunderstood make me hinder my walk with God and make me disobey God and seek His approval, not of man. Because people's opinion shifts, my opinion shifts. You guys, I can wake up today with some take, and the next day I can wake up with another take. You don't say the same. The heart is deceitful above all things, but He is the same. His love is steady, stays the same. And what we have to realize that as servants of Christ, we need to obey God, even if no one claps. Speak the truth. If no one listens, sometimes people lie to you. This prosperity people talking about if you obey God, like a red carpet is waiting for you. At the other side of obedience, or speaking the truth. You have to realize that we are following someone who was nailed to the cross, who faced one of the most humiliating deaths, of history, of the Roman, one of the most gruesome ways to die in the first century. It's not just being a servant of Christ, not being cushy, or it's not just the goody and stuff. Because one day when we come to God and we are being judged, the only thing that matters for us is that when we finish the good race and we fight a good fight, and we hear God telling us that, well done, good and faithful servant. And so it's gonna differ. It's gonna be different with other people's situation and your situation. It's not just only content creation on my YouTube, but it can be different with your situation. If you are going to school, or have an online business, entrepreneur, school, and your own purpose, calling that you're pursuing. If God is leading you to do something that is removing out of your comfort zone, and He's calling you to do something, share, speak and step out, and clearly that when you do those kind of stuff, but the possibility that you are going to be in the same situation, or the possibility that you're not going to be accepted, or get rejected and maybe misunderstood, you're going to get that lash. We are called. I am not saying the fear is gone right now, but I guess I need to do it. I was scared, and still being afraid. Not that scary or something, but just a fear that hinders you from taking action, a fear that cripples you from doing something that you're supposed to do. And it's gonna relate. I hope it relates to everyone in your situation. And because it's not, when you are serving Christ, it's not to be understood or seek approval of man, but His will above all, and being obedient with Him and walk with Him. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, just comment your thought. Anything else, I would love it. I will reply and follow for more.